Storms off to our north. We'll have some dry time into the afternoon. First alert weather day, though. We have one today, and then we also have one for Saturday as well with another risk for storms. So let's talk about the timing heading into the afternoon and evening. About 4 to 6 p.m. beginning in our northwestern counties, and then this did get a little jumbled up, but about 6 to 9 p.m. here in this light purple, and then I'd say around 9 to 11 in some of our southeasternmost counties with that severe threat wrapping up maybe closer to midnight tonight. Temperatures right now in the low 80s will continue to stay pretty humid, though. It feels like temperatures upper 80s to low 90s right now. Partly sunny and winds breezy coming in from the southwest. Gusts on average about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Up to 40 over in Joplin right now. 31 mile per hour gusts over in Monette. And today, temperature-wise, I think we'll continue to climb in the mid to upper 80s for highs this afternoon. Maybe a few spots in northern Arkansas squeaking to around 90 before a cold front brings storm chances heading into the evening. I'll time it out on Futurecast hour by hour coming up. Tonight for some, and our main threats will be hail and damaging winds. Right now, though, we're just partly sunny, clouds starting to increase. But here's the cold front that we're tracking. This is a wave of storms that's bringing that level 4 moderate risk off to the north, closer to this area of low pressure. But storms firing off along this front into the afternoon. Here's the timing: 4 o'clock, beginning to move into our northwesternmost counties over towards Nevada, back over towards Lamar, and will continue to work its way closer to I-44. Still north of the interstate, mostly around 6 p.m. and then around 8 p.m. closer to I-44, and then in south central Missouri closer to about 10 p.m. and then around midnight, the severe threat starting to wind down a bit. Still some heavy rain and maybe a few stronger thunderstorms, but you notice how that line's become a little less organized. And then it'll still rain after that early overnight, especially in northern Arkansas. But we wake up tomorrow morning looking mostly dry outside of what could be a stray shower or two in a spot, but nothing severe tomorrow. And I think we see some sunshine for the day. So wind will be our primary threat. We could see gusts around 60 to 70 miles an hour within these storms. Hail maybe up to golf ball size. And there is a low, just not zero tornado risk. That tornado risk would be a little bit greater north of I-44, but that's even still lower for the afternoon and evening hours. Behind this front, though, cooler air moves on in. We'll be back around average tomorrow and Saturday in the mid 80s. And then another front Saturday into Sunday cools us off even more, with highs only in the 70s into the start of next week. However, some weekend rain chances to talk about. And we have issued a first alert weather day for Saturday as well, thanks to some heavy rain that could lead to flooding, and maybe a few storms we'll have to watch out for that could also maybe be severe. So Friday overnight into Saturday morning, we'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. Saturday afternoon, I think we'll see a few isolated thunderstorms still, but maybe some of you enjoying some dry time before more storms Saturday overnight along that next front, continuing into Sunday early morning. Behind the front, maybe some drier air moving on in, and we could see some dry time Sunday afternoon, partly sunny. Saturday, there is already a severe risk. It's looking pretty low right now for many. Level 2 off to our north mostly. That does clip parts of Benton County, Morgan County there into some of our northwestern counties, but level 1 marginal risk highlighted there in green. So we'll watch those storms closely, but like I mentioned, the potential for some flooding. And over the next 7 days, I think we could see a decent amount of rain. On average, about 1.5 inches to about 3 inches of rain will be possible, but locally higher totals, maybe closer to 4 or 5 inches of rain could be possible for some of you over the next few days, with I think a lot of this falling Saturday and into Saturday overnight. Now temperatures today on the warmer side ahead of that front, upper 80s, a few spots maybe around 90, and then continuing to try and cool off a little bit more tonight, low to mid 60s waking up in the morning, and tomorrow afternoon not too bad. It's to low 90s for some of you. First alert weather day, another look at the severe storm timing, 4 to 6 beginning in some of our northwestern counties. Closer to I-44 around 6 to 9, and then 9 to 11 p.m. in south central Missouri and northern Arkansas. Damaging winds, large hail, your main threats there. A very low tornado risk. Tomorrow, drier and cooler. Another first alert weather day Saturday. Beginning to work its way on in, though, out ahead of a cold front. May bring a sprinkle or two, clipping some of our northwestern counties. But really, the main event heads on in as we take you into the later half of the day. Your severe threat begins around 4 in some of our northwesternmost counties, around 4 to 6, around 6 to 9, closer to I-44, and then around 9 to about 11 p.m. here in south central Missouri and northern Arkansas, with that severe threat kind of winding down closer to midnight tonight. Until then, though, it's just hot and humid. Right now, we're in the mid-80s for many. 86 in Lebanon, Camdenton, 86 in Mountain Home, and 82 in Monette. Feeling like the 90s, though. 96 in Camdenton is what it feels like. 94 in Rolla, 91 in West Plains, as well as back over towards Branson right now. Winds are breezy ahead of our next cold front. That cold front kind of lining up right about here. Winds out ahead of the front gusting about 30 to almost 40 miles an hour at times, and highs today in the upper 80s to low 90s. I'll talk more about your severe threats into the afternoon and evening and time it out for you on Futurecast hour by hour coming up. We have a level 2 slight risk for severe storms that covers most of the area for the late afternoon and evening hours. Right now, though, we're quiet. Some rain and storms this morning off to our north, but we're tracking storms that could develop this afternoon along a cold front. That front currently situated off to our northwest. And here's a look, kind of that larger swath of storms that developed this morning closer to this area of low pressure, tracking over towards the Great Lakes right now. Here's a look at 4 o'clock today. That's when the severe threat really starts to go up as storms move into our northwestern counties. Through around 6 p.m., staying mostly north of I-44 and have very heavy rain along this front as well. It will be brief, though. By 8 o'clock, storms lining up kind of along the interstate. I'd say 7, 8 o'clock, and then south central Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, north central Arkansas still around 11 p.m. to midnight tonight. The severe threat starts to wind down a little bit closer to midnight as that line becomes a little less organized. You can see it starting to break up a little bit more. Still, though, some heavy rain, and even after midnight, we'll see some showers and thunderstorms still possibly in mostly northern Arkansas before tracking off to our south by sunrise tomorrow morning. Maybe a stray shower or two in far southwestern Missouri, northern Arkansas tomorrow morning, but many stay dry all day long tomorrow with a few peaks of sunshine. Now, your severe threats for the afternoon and evening, 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts will be kind of our main threat that we see within any severe storms. Hail maybe up to golf ball size also possible. And there is a low, it's just not zero, tornado threat. That threat may be a little bit better north of I-44, but that threat level is still low heading into the afternoon and evening. Behind this front, though, some cooler air. It's not going to be super cool, but we'll be right around average again for your Friday and Saturday in the mid-80s. And then another cold front Saturday into Sunday will cool us off even more. And this is going to feel really nice heading into the start of next week as highs fall back into the 70s, a bit below average for this time of year. But Saturday is actually also now a first alert weather day as we track storm chances and the potential for maybe some flooding. Here's a look at Friday night into Saturday morning. Rain chances begin to go up. Should be wet to start the day off Saturday. Maybe a little bit of dry time Saturday afternoon for some of you, but more rain and storms late Saturday evening and overnight with very heavy rain as we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Here comes the cold front overnight into Sunday morning. We'll wake up maybe to a little bit of rain Sunday morning. This model right here wants to push out the rain a little bit faster, but I want to hold on to that chance at least for the morning hours for many. But by the afternoon, maybe a little bit of drier time for the later half of Sunday, so maybe not a complete washout of a weekend for now. Here's a look at Saturday's severe threat. It's a level 1 marginal risk that covers much of the area. That level 2 slight threat, maybe clipping parts of our northernmost counties and back up towards Kansas City and parts of northern Missouri where the threat's a little bit better. But we are looking at a lot of rain on the way over the next 7 days. On average, I'd say about 1.5 inches to maybe 3 inches of rain. Locally higher totals, though, maybe closer to 4 inches could be possible in some spots. A swath of storms along an area of low pressure and cold fronts sweeping through the Midwest. Right now, big wave of storms heading back over towards Chicago, back over into the Great Lakes right now. Some flash flood warnings in place for parts of northeastern Missouri here. And this line of storms produced severe weather early this morning. There is a level 4 moderate risk for severe storms today, kind of with that swath that's working into Chicago now. Level 3 enhanced risk highlighted here in orange includes parts of central and northeastern Missouri. And then here in the Ozarks, we have that level 2 slight risk. But a closer look at who's included in this level 4 moderate risk: the city of Chicago, down over towards Burlington, Davenport, and we'll continue to watch these storms track off to the east today, with tomorrow's weather looking a little bit quieter. I do want to mention yesterday we had our first potential area of development in the Atlantic basin pop up with tropical depression now. Christina, back from the Pacific, making landfall as a tropical depression. No big issues there with strong winds for them, but this will actually work over into the Atlantic basin, back over into the Gulf, and a 10% chance of development over the next 7 days. Behind the cold front, cooler air with highs only in the 60s in the northern plains. Out ahead of it, 80s and 90s today. Tomorrow will feel a little bit better as our temperatures fall back closer to average. Gusty winds this afternoon, right now coming in from the southwest. Still looking at gusts about 25 to 30 miles an hour. We could see some isolated gusts today, closer to 35, maybe potentially even 40 miles an hour. Coming in from the southwest, out ahead of our next cold front that pushes through late this evening and overnight tonight. Winds a little breezy at times early overnight tonight, but as they shift from the north, they will begin to slow down behind that front. And tomorrow, I think winds actually stay pretty light during the day, and it should be a really nice afternoon with temperatures right around average. I think we're drier, we'll have more sunshine, and then rain chances go up again this weekend for Saturday and then into Sunday morning, with another cold front moving on through to cool us back only into the 70s by Sunday afternoon, even after that rain passes. I will say Saturday is also a first alert weather day. We could see some very large hail and some gusty winds within a few maybe isolated thunderstorms, but also the potential for some flooding, with many areas picking up at least over the next 7 days, about 1.5 to 3 inches of rain. But I think a lot of this falls Saturday, especially in the evening and overnight hours into early Sunday morning. For many before a cold front arrives. Storm chances going up around 4 p.m. in our northwestern counties through about 6, highlighted here in this dark purple. Around I-44, beginning around 7 p.m. through about 9, and then in our southeastern counties around 9 to 11 p.m. with that severe threat wraps from now until 9 p.m. today. For all of the counties highlighted here in pink, that could potentially be extended later on this evening, further off to include some of our southeasternmost counties, but until then, kind of watching how things play out. We are tracking showers and storms right now. Currently nothing severe in our area. Severe storms off to our north though, and we'll watch these storms closely, certainly producing a lot of lightning in a few spots. Time frame is really from around now through 6 p.m. in some of our northwesternmost counties as storms track off to the south and east, maybe closer to I-44 around 6 to 9 p.m. today. And then in our southeastern counties around 9 to 11 p.m. with the severe threat trying to wind down for us all, maybe closer to midnight tonight. Temperatures ahead of the cold front are warm. We're currently in the mid to a few upper 80s, 88 in Camdenton and Mountain Home, 86 in Branson and West Plains right now, with feels like temperatures in the 90s for many. 100 though in Camdenton, kind of the hot spot there, 97 in Mountain Home, 87, not as bad in Monette right now. Winds are breezy out ahead of the front. Gusts from the southwest right now about 20 to almost 30 miles an hour in a few spots. And tonight, cooler air starts to move on in. We'll wake up in the low 60s with temperatures tomorrow a little bit nicer, closer to average. We'll talk more about the timing hour by hour for storms tonight and another first alert weather day Saturday coming up soon. Tracking storms starting to move in over the next hour or so. That could be severe. We'll talk more about the threats in greater detail and time it out for you with your full 7-day forecast as well. Coming up, currently severe, but some heavy rain and a decent amount of lightning. Back over heading into Mount Pleasant, eventually over towards Clinton and over into Independence in Kansas, with a lot of lightning within that thunderstorm there too. So we're watching these closely as they continue to move on in. It is a first alert weather day today. We have a level 2 slight risk risk for severe storms. That covers much of our area heading into the evening and early overnight hours. By around 6 o'clock, models are pulling these storms still into some of our northwesternmost counties north of I-44. Heading into around 8-9 p.m., I think they start to work their way closer to I-44. And then back in south central Missouri after dark tonight, maybe around 10-11 p.m. And then they are starting to break up a bit as they work their way further to the south and east, becoming a little less organized. Still, though, some of these cells could produce some gusty winds, maybe some large hail, but the potential for maybe up to golf ball size hail possible within a few of the storms over the next couple of hours. And then by 7 a.m., I think the rain clears on out of here. Severe threat winds down closer to midnight tonight. And then tomorrow, I think we actually stay pretty dry during the day with some peaks of sunshine and not feeling as bad. It'll still be a bit humid, though. Now, our severe threats. 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts, likely our greatest threat within these thunderstorms. The potential for, like I mentioned, golf ball size hail. And hey, there is a low, just not zero tornado risk. We'll be watching out for more of these storms, though, will likely contain the potential for some pretty strong gusty winds. Like I mentioned, cooler air, though, moves on in. We'll be back closer to average Friday and Saturday. And then another cold front slides through Saturday into Sunday. And that'll bring in some really nice air into the start of next week, with highs actually below average, feeling pretty pleasant with a couple rain chances, though. Saturday is also a first alert weather day as we track the potential for flooding, but also another potential for maybe some severe storms. So Friday overnight into Saturday morning, we'll see rain chances go up, scattered into Saturday afternoon and evening. And then it's not until the overnight hours that a cold front starts to work its way on in again, continuing into Sunday morning. A little bit of rain Sunday morning, but right now not looking to be a washout of a day. I think we could be a little bit drier Sunday afternoon behind that cold front and cooler. Saturday's severe risk, also a level 2 slight risk that covers much of the area. Parts of north central Arkansas, level 1 marginal threat there. Large hail and gusty winds still kind of the primary threat that we'll be watching out for. But I mentioned the potential for some flooding in spots as well. We are looking at, on average over the next 7 days, 1.5 to 3 inches of rain. Locally higher totals greater than 4 inches of rain, though, will certainly be possible as well. And a lot of this falling actually over the weekend, really Saturday into Sunday, especially west of Highway 65. So there is the potential for flooding. And today, while it's not going to be widespread a flooding threat, we could see some pockets of heavy rain lead to some maybe brief ponding in spots as well. Overnight tonight, temperatures cooling off behind that front will be in the low to mid 60s. Not too bad. Tomorrow afternoon, highs in the low to mid 80s, right around average. And then today, we are looking at some storms starting to work their way on in. And right now we're looking at our instability, and kind of the cold front lines up right here where you see a big difference from lower instability to high instability. And there's a lot of instability to work with over the next couple of hours as these storms track into our area. That could lead to some damaging wind gusts, maybe some large hail in spots. And this is 7 o'clock. Let's take you into 9 p.m. as the sun goes down and this storm tracks further off to the south and east. Instability starts to weaken a bit. Still, though, the best south of I-44 by 9 p.m. And then around midnight, there's still a bit here in south central Missouri, northern Arkansas. A few thunderstorms, but likely not as strong potentially as kind of what we're looking at, with some storms moving into our northwestern counties. And then instability continues to go down overnight tonight. And like I mentioned before, I do think that severe threat winds down maybe closer to midnight for some of our southeastern counties. Now, the next couple of days, more storm chances arriving by the weekend. Saturday's also a first alert weather day. We are looking at maybe some large hail and the potential for flooding, as well as the potential for maybe some strong gusty winds too. But a lot of rain could lead to some localized flooding, especially with how much rain we've seen over the last couple of weeks. In over the next, I'd say 30 minutes or so now for some of you. And we do still need a bit of rain. However, really we need more rain in some of our southeastern counties. This is the latest drought monitor. I want to show you, here's a look at it. New one came out today, and there have been some improvements, which is great news. But still, north central Arkansas really needing some more rain. Dry conditions Now in northwestern Arkansas, parts of Ozark, Douglas County there, and into Howell County. And then we do still have extreme drought into parts of north central Arkansas as well. Here's a look at our annual rainfall departure. Some spots like Harrison actually have a surplus, but once again, last year, as we ended the year, there was a pretty big deficit here in some of these same areas. West Plains still about a 5.5-inch deficit, and a decent surplus now developing back up over towards Rolla and for some areas north of I-44. But of course, when you see flooding, a lot of that water isn't absorbed into the ground, just kind of runs off, so it's not that great. What we really need is kind of more a steady, slow rain over a couple of days, and we will see some more rain heading into the weekend, Saturday into Sunday. Unfortunately, heavy at times, so we do still have a flooding risk for the weekend as well. But of course, it will also help drought conditions, and hopefully next week, more improvements in north central Arkansas to the latest drought monitor. Thunderstorm warnings just out of our area right now, but these storms moving on in shortly, where we have some heavy rain and a lot of lightning moving through Mount Pleasant, heading over towards Clinton right now, over towards Benton County, and then another storm system passing just northeast of Independence, Kansas, producing a lot of lightning and maybe some hail in there as well, and some gusty winds. Over the next couple of hours, rain and storm chances staying mostly north of I-44 and closer to I-49 through 6 p.m. 6 to 9 closer to the interstate, and then in our southeastern counties around 9 to 11. I'll time it out on Futurecast hour by hour coming up on KY3 News at 5. Bringing us the potential for severe storms. Severe storm watch in place for all of the counties highlighted in pink you see here until 9 p.m. today. Look at radar right now. Severe storm warnings back to our northwest, about to work its way on in, maybe back over towards St. Clair, Benton County, and a lot of lightning heading over towards Clinton right now within this severe thunderstorm. So really loud storm, some heavy rain, some gusty winds, maybe some small hail in there, but I really think mostly just some gusty winds there. The next couple of hours now through about 6, maybe even 7 p.m. we are looking at storms still mostly north of I-44, 6 to 9 p.m. closer to the interstate, and then around 9 to 11 p.m. in some of our southeasternmost counties with the severe threat, maybe trying to wrap up closer to midnight. Right now, temperatures in the mid-80s for many, feeling like the low 90s though for most. 90 in Springfield, 96 in Camdenton, and 93 in Branson, 91 in Harrison is what it feels like. Winds have been breezy this afternoon. They're starting to slow down just a bit as that front approaches, and the front will push in cooler air. Will be around normal tomorrow morning, low to mid 60s and highs in the low to mid 80s for your Friday. I'll time the storm system out hour by hour coming up soon. Showers and storms slowly working their way now into some of our northwesternmost counties. Severe storm warnings issued back off just to our northwest of Benton County, St. Clair County there. We'll watch these closely as they move on in. Could potentially move in severe, producing some strong gusty winds and a lot of lightning as well. And then a severe storm also producing a significant amount of lightning back over now east of Independence. So storms moving over towards I-49 right now, heading over now north of Nevada. There is a level 2 slight risk for severe storms covering much of the area for the day today. The next few hours by around 8 o'clock, we're still tracking rain and storms lining up mostly along and north of I-44 still. Some of these could still be severe. And then by around 9-10 p.m., lining up mostly along and south of I-44 after dark. And you notice they're kind of breaking up a bit in coverage, becoming a little less organized. I'd say closer to midnight, that severe threat starting to wind down, but we will still have a few thunderstorms after that overnight, especially in northern Arkansas. And tomorrow morning, we'll wake up pretty dry. We'll see some sunshine for the day tomorrow as well. I think we stay dry into the evening hours too. Today's severe threats, damaging wind gusts, maybe up to 70 miles an hour, kind of our greatest threat, as well as the potential for some small to up to golf ball size hail. There is a very low, just not zero tornado risk. Of course, we're watching out for that right now as well, but damaging wind gusts will be the primary threat that we see. Behind this front, though, cooler air back in the mid-80s Friday, Saturday. Another front Saturday into Sunday, cooling us off again. Below average at the start of next week with some weekend rain chances to talk about. So rain moves in Friday night into Saturday morning. scattered from the morning and then into the afternoon hours as well. And pockets of heavy rain could lead to some flooding Saturday and more rain overnight into early Sunday morning as that cold front begins to slide on in too. Behind the front, we could start to see some drier air move in and the potential for Sunday afternoon to be a little bit drier, so maybe not a complete washout of a weekend for us. Saturday is also a first alert weather day with a severe risk. Level 2 slight risk once again covers much of the area again, damaging winds, maybe some large hail possible, and like I mentioned, the potential for flooding will also be a concern. I think over the next 7 days, we could pick up on average about 1.5 inches to maybe 3 inches of rain on average. However, up to 4 inches maybe in some spots could be possible, with I think a lot of this actually falling from Friday night through your Sunday morning. So that's where we have that flooding risk coming into play, especially on Saturday. Now this cold front slides through. Temperatures a bit variable by 9, cooler north of I-44. Lows in the low to mid 60s and highs tomorrow back around to normal. The far northern St. Clair County, including Appleton City over towards Lowry City.
News at 5. Emily, we'll see you right back here in half an hour. Ron's going to be back too.